All right, should be live.
Let me go find the link. I'm struggling here. My keyboard's not working. Is the problem? Okay.
Those some yellow ass shorts, man. Damn. Oh man. We going?
Trying to get this link tweeted out, but I am struggling.
Riveting content for those of you that are actually watching right now.
Those watching are the diehards, so we appreciate y'all.
Yeah, people really enjoyed this movie. We're doing In the Heights here in a second. I'll do the typical podcast intro for the, but like people have some thoughts about this movie. I'm interested to talk about it because on top of it, all of that, like we'll talk about it, but like people are shitting and like either love this movie or there are some thoughts about this movie that it's going to be real interesting for
I mean, I feel like that's gonna be Lin-Manuel Miranda's career.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting for a white guy, a millennial white guy, to talk about it. But I'm going to try.
He put out a statement, so he has at least acknowledged the
Backlash, I guess.
the backlash against the film. I thought he handled it well. Unfortunately, he also got similar remarks with relation to the stage play, so it rings a bit hollow because they've been saying the same things about the stage play that you didn't adapt to a movie and made the same mistakes in casting that you did before.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So he should have just maybe ignored it. But who knows?
Just like whatever. Go see the movie.
Make the movie you want to make.
All right, yeah, I got the link tweeted. We good. Let's go.
All right.
Get
3,
it.
2, 1. Welcome to One Tech Podcast, episode 68. This week we were reviewing In the Heights. No guest this week because we can do this on our own.
You got
I don't
this.
need no guest.
We can stand on our own 2 feet, unless, of course, like y'all want to come on. Anyone famous wants to come on, then we absolutely need you and love you and respect you. But like, we can do this on our own. Yeah. So
Y'all think we can get Florence Pugh to come on to do Black Widow? That'd be great.
One day it's happening.
if we could, it's gonna be like the "Hi, Kevin" from
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Hi, Kevin. But
Say British stuff, please.
you would please like break up with the geriatric, but
I'm not attracted to Florence Pugh like that, so I could lead the conversation while y'all just
no, I don't
your
get
tongues back in your mouth.
I don't start like I say I wouldn't get starstruck, but anytime I've seen a star in the wild, I've just kind of been like, oh, they're better than me, and that's not the case. But
Wow.
like one time we saw Clint Eastwood like walking around, just walking around in California, in that small ass California town he's like the mayor of for some reason, and we were just like, oh, we won't get starstruck, and then he just came like waltzing out there, and I was like, holy shit.
I wouldn't speak to Clint Eastwood because I don't want to be called racial slurs when I'm going about my day, so I would have just ignored Clint Eastwood myself.
Well, you know what? Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, like you just you're not prepared for seeing stars. Like if you live in Houston, like you don't just run up on famous people like in Katy, Texas or whatever, right? So like,
yeah.
When I worked at Magnolia, like Chip and Joanna would come through sometimes, and like we worked there, so we saw them more often than most people do. But like they'd just be in the back chilling, like working on some shit, like with some notes or whatever, and you'd be like, Joanna Gaines, she smells so good.
Jose Altuve just hit a walk-off home run. Cool.
Go Stros.
All right. Man, Texas Rangers father just hit a home run. All right. Anyway, so we're doing In the Heights plus a draft about films about places draft, or have title places in the title. Probably it's probably a better way to describe it. So let's get right into it. Dex, you love this movie. You are gonna have the highest marks of anyone here. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. I've been super excited about this movie like since they were first talking about making it into a movie. Like I knew the musical, like I guess it's been like 9, 10, something like that years. So I've been a super fan of this of the musical. Watched like bootleg versions of the musical online. Watched the one with Corbin Blue in it. So I was on board for this shit as soon as I found out they were actually making it a movie that was actually coming out. And it was everything I wanted it to be, and more. I enjoyed it way more than I expected to. I thought I was gonna go in and like just be kind of underwhelmed and being like, they could have done this better, they could have done that better. This didn't translate well to screen, blah blah blah. But this movie was just fun, man. Like it was just fun to be back in the movie theaters with people, just watching a fun musical. Like of course, there's like powerful, sad moments in it. Obviously, like when Abuela dies and all that, like it's sad. It's kind of fucked up, but overall, this movie it just feels good. It's just nice. It's joyful. There's some like really cool shots in it. Like that shot of Usnavi kind of like just wrapping out the window while people are dancing, like in the reflection of the window and all this shit of the bodega. Like this is just cool. 96,000 is like the biggest smile I've had on my face in a movie theater in a long time. Like that shit is just happy, just fun. Yeah, I love this movie. I haven't really looked into the controversy that much. I don't really get into the whole representation like argument thing. That's just not my bag. I've never really been somebody who is particularly moved or cares about that kind of thing. But I can't blame people for being offended by that. But I'm not. So overall, I give it an A, not an A plus. It could have been, a little bit better, but it's something that I'm gonna watch over and over now. It's on HBO Max, and I was just happy to be able to see it finally.
I messed up. Thank you for your review. We'll get to ours here in like 2 seconds. In the Heights came out this year. It is a 7.8 on IMDb. It's rated PG-13. It is an egregiously long 2 hours and 23 minutes. It's so long. A film version of the Broadway musical in which Usnave, a sympathetic New York bodega owner, saves every penny every day as he imagines and sings about a better life. It was directed by John M. Chu, who did
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes, thank you. Crazy Rich Asians. It was written, I'm going to butcher this name, so please do not get mad at me. It was written basically, is based on the play by Lin-Manuel Miranda, but it was written by Chiara Algaria Hudes, and I messed that up. I definitely know I did, but sorry. It has a 84 Metascore. It stars Anthony Ramos as Usnave, Melissa Barrera as Vanessa, I think this is our first English language film, kind of relatively unknown out of Mexico. Leslie Grace as Nina, Corey Hawkins as Benny, Jimmy Smits as Kevin Rosario, Olga Redes as Abuela, and Stephanie Beatrice, who you might know from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, host of other character actors. It isn't doing very well considering at the box office. Considering what Quiet Place Part 2 has done. And of course, the different genres of film, but also released on HBO Max. The Conjuring
wasn't on streaming, so
it's hard to compare. One of them
well,
streams
but The Conjuring, that I've heard The Conjuring made it. You can go through the weeds with the box office stuff, but The Conjuring made like 20 million, so they were projecting like a 20 million plus box office return for In the Heights, considering one better movie, bigger draw. But of course, horror movies always make their money back, but it's made 11 million worldwide so far. So hopefully people go out and see it. It's definitely worth seeing. I, just because of scheduling stuff, couldn't go see it this weekend. I watched it on HBO Max. I think we're going to have the discussion. I'm glad people are getting access to these films. HBO Max is going to definitely, if they want to make their money and they want to keep these creators paid and like the making this, they're going to have to add the Disney Plus like premium access feature. They're just going to have to do it. Like I know they've already bought and paid for these movies, so they're already there. But if they want to make their money back and make it to where these creators continue to get good press for making money for these movies, like, I mean, okay, like some of the stuff that's been on HBO Max already, I'm
Wasn't gonna
good.
make any money in the first place.
I'm good. Like, you don't have to do premium access for stuff like that. But this definitely is worth, like Raya and the Last Dragon, instead like $30 or however many. Like if they brought it even down, they brought it down to like 15. Like, you know what I mean? Just to undercut Disney something. But you got to do that to get money back into these movies.
I find that fascinating because I think part of the problem is that Disney ruined that marketing plan or that game plan because $30 is so expensive, and they set that as the baseline, and that's now how we think about it. But like, I would have paid $10 to watch Mortal Kombat like at home. Well, I watched it in a movie theater, but to the extent I couldn't go to a movie theater or didn't want to go to a movie theater, I would have paid $10 to watch Mortal Kombat. Would I have paid $30 to watch Mortal Kombat at home? Maybe, maybe not. For a great example is The Conjuring. The Conjuring isn't playing at my theater that I've been going to recently, so I'm probably just going to watch it at home. Would I have paid $30 to watch The Conjuring at home? No, but it's on HBO Max, so I'll probably just watch it for free. But if they said, give me $10 or $15 and you can watch The Conjuring 3, I love those movies. The first two movies are amazing. I'd definitely take some edibles and pay $15 to watch The Conjuring at home. 30 would be, I'd be like, no, maybe not. Maybe I'll just wait until I can stream it for free. I can just wait a couple months. So it's a fascinating problem, but I think that's where it's going to go for sure.
Well, it's also the fact that Disney just has better movies. They know what are going to pay for. Like half the stuff that HBO Max put out already is not good. They've had like 2 good releases, 2.5. I had a decent time with Mortal Kombat, but like 2.5
was amazing.
It wasn't, but that's fine.
It's also because Disney, like, kids are just like, mommy, oh my god, the movie's finally here.
Shut the fuck up. I will
care.
pay.
Yeah, they don't care about, and the parents are just like, if it costs me $30 to make you shut the hell up, sure. Like, kids don't care, but like, when you're trying to make adults watch films, we are not going to go pay $30 to see In the Heights. I wouldn't have paid $30 to see In the Heights.
I'm going to go pay $7.25.
Yeah, so, you know, but kids are just like, it's not my money. You didn't pay for this so I could finally see this movie. And it's still much cheaper than taking your 4 kids and lugging them to the movie, and they're going to make you buy popcorn and candy and shit. So they're going to pay that $30 every time. So Disney's in the right spot. It's just everybody else is not going to be able to get away with it.
And HBO Max, like a lot of their movies that are straight to HBO Max or whatever and in theaters, they're not like good IP. Like, it's not fucking Mulan, right? Like they had, I guess they had the Kong versus Godzilla movie that they could have probably made some money on, but like,
that shit stinks.
All the little things or whatever, nobody's paying to see that at home. Like,
that's not... glad. I'm so glad.
Or like that fucking Angelina Jolie movie that we watched, Those Who Wish Me Dead. Nobody's paying to watch that at home. Like, you're gonna have to put that on there for free. You know, so they don't have.
But they know that.
Mulans.
They have to know that.
They have to know which of these stink and which of these are like they know. They've test screened all of these things a year in advance. Where these are movies that were supposed to come out a year ago. They've test screened this shit to oblivion. So they knew that In the Heights was a decent movie. You know, they knew that Godzilla versus Kong was like gonna make money. You know what I mean? So they know which ones are and which ones aren't. And I think the strategy movement. Now, I'm not saying, look, if you want to give me movies for free that I already pay $15 for the streaming service for, fine. Like, I'll take new movies for free all the time. I'm just saying, I think it's a disservice to some of these creators that when their movies flop, because we're still coming out of the pandemic and HBO has decided, hey, we're just not going to have anybody pay for these anymore, then, you know, it kind of sucks. But I'll take the free movies. That's fine. I just think they know which of these movies are good and which are trash. And going forward, I think they probably need to decide which ones there are and which ones they aren't going to release.
That's very, very, very tricky though, because if you're doing it based on some assigned value or some assigned we think it's going to make X amount of dollars. Then if you're a filmmaker and your film is over there at HBO Max and somebody else's film came out last week and they charged $15 extra for it, and then your film is coming out and they look at you in the face and like, we're putting your shit up for free, it feels like you're now going to have the creatives, maybe not want to come over there. Whereas Disney is just like, this is a new movie that's also in theaters. This one costs money. Everything else is going to be free. And so it becomes very tricky because the creators are all going to, I want to put mine up there for an extra $15 too. Or, they might not understand that it might make more monetary sense or more sense for some movies that don't have any publicity to be free and movies that have a bit of buzz behind them to cost money. But good luck explaining that to the creators. It just feels like a very tricky line to draw.
Well, it's weird because Disney has already done this though. Like they've decided, like they did it with Soul, Soul could have made some money. They're just like, this shit is free. They're going to do it with the Luca movie, which is another Pixar movie. The people at Pixar have to be like, what the fuck?
Wait, is Luca going to be free?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't even know if it's coming out in theaters. I think it's just going to be on streaming.
I was about to pay the $30 to watch Luca, but now I watch it free. Perfect.
Yeah, but like Disney, it's like, we're Disney. What are you going to do?
Yeah, sue me.
Yeah,
What I mean?
You.
Take that shit over to DreamWorks then.
Yeah, go to DreamWorks
on their streaming service that they don't have.
I hear Sony and Netflix need some shit, broke boys. All right, real quick. It has a 90. It was really well received. It has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, 95 audience score. People, like I said, I think people generally really like this movie. Of course, we'll get into some representation questions that, of course, Lin-Manuel himself addressed. Critics' consensus lights up for In the Heights, a joyous celebration of heritage and community fueled by dazzling direction and sing-along songs. Tej, go ahead, man. You saw this in theaters and didn't like it as much. I didn't see it in theaters and also didn't like it as much. So it's kind of an interesting back and forth here, but go ahead.
So I don't want to say I didn't like it as much as Dex, but I also wasn't looking forward to it as much as Dex. I've never seen the musical. I don't know much about the musical. I kind of walked into this movie knowing nothing but having seen the trailers. And my first thought, ironically, was, damn, that's a pretty light-skinned ass cast for a film.
Dominican film
takes place in Washington Heights. But okay, whatever. I thought this movie was good. It's really charming. It's got a lot of heart. The songs are good enough. I thought the performances in this movie were really good, except for one person, which we're going to talk about. I won't spoil that, but there's one person in this film that I now think that this doesn't have it, and it makes me sad because he's the only black person in the film.
Oh,
but
no.
What?
I
don't see it for him, man. I'm trying so hard to like
Corey Hawkins. You didn't like it?
I don't think that he has it. I literally just don't think that he has
disagree.
Everything I see him in, I'm just like, come on, give me that. But anyway, I thought the performances were great. It's very charming. The songs are great. I had a good time at the movie theater. I had some questions after, and I think the thing that stops us from being an A, because I love a musical. I love stage shows. This is kind of right up my alley. I love a cheesy love story. But nothing really happens in this movie / story. Like literally nothing happens. And then somebody dies and then still nothing kind of happens. And so it's just like, I had a good time, but as far as like I couldn't give it like an A because nothing really happens. I give it a solid B. I would watch it again. I enjoyed it. There were some heartfelt moments. The love story kind of worked for me, even though there was no sexual tension between either of the couples that were centered. And I just didn't feel any sexual tension for them. But I was into the love stories and I had a good time in the movies. I give it a solid B.
I think I would have liked this better had I seen it in the movies because, I'm a sucker for the performances of musicals. Like I've grown up watching musicals. Like my parents, went out of their way to take me to Houston to go see musicals when they would come to Houston and stuff. And not a lot of people get that opportunity. So that having that was really integral in my upbringing. So I've always really enjoyed musicals and stuff like that. And one of the best theater experiences I've ever had was watching La La Land in the theater. So I think I would have probably enjoyed it more. I did enjoy the songs. A lot of people have Lin-Manuel fatigue, I think, just from that sing-songy rap stuff that he does in all of his stuff. I mean, people love Hamilton still to this day. Like, it was nominated for Golden Globes and shit. Like, but it I think that Anthony Ramos did a pretty pitch perfect performance. Brought a little bit to it, but he sounds exactly like Lin-Manuel sounds in most of his performances and stuff like that. I thought he did how it's written really well. That rapping, sing-songy stuff isn't for everybody that loves traditional musicals, like, you know, the belting and the vibrato and holding everything out. Like, that's not for everybody. I enjoy it. I think the singing from most of the cast was very, very good, and I thought the dance choreography in this was some of the best that I've seen in a long time.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of
incredible.
I thought the dance choreography was really fun. I thought some of the choices that Chu made, as far as, is it Chu? John Chu?
I think it's Chu, but I'm not
Chu.
entirely sure.
I thought some of the performances that are some of the not performances, choices rather, that he made with the camera, and I really enjoyed them dancing up and down the side of the building, which was kind of random but fun. I like
that was so fun, man. That was really cool.
Yeah, integrating some of the
like set design,
the set design. It was very colorful, like some of the like curtains and rugs hanging down. It feels like you're in a set design of an actual play when they do shit like that. And of course, some of the graphics that they were doing, like at 96,000, when they were before they like with like the lightsaber and things like that, I thought that was actually kind of an interesting choice.
I really liked the way that they set up. There was one scene where he's looking out the window of the bodega, and it's right where you realize that the bodega is where he's been telling the story to his kids the whole time. Mm-hmm. And so you when you look on the outside, you see people standing on an island, but what you see is him looking out at that. I just thought that they made some really interesting decisions or choices with how they set it up and how they presented the story to us visually, and I just thought they did a great job with it. I kind of like the whole make this movie theater feel like we're at a stage play. I really like that. It was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of these musicals, and like Les Miserables suffered from this, I feel like, and stuff where it tried to make it into like real life sort of thing. And if it's not a musical that's not like if it's a musical based on a property that's been performed on Broadway, thousands, if not millions of people have seen this thing performed in this contained set. Yeah. So like La La Land, you got away with, this is a musical, but there's nothing containing this to this stage. We can use all of LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's not certain sets that you have to go to. Like In the Heights, one is a self-contained within like a 10 block radius. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you're basing it off of a play that ran for years on Broadway and won Tonys and things like that. And people are very familiar with it. I hadn't seen it, but I think you're right. I think making the choice to make this like, look, this is a musical. You know what I mean? This is fantastical and not real life and everything. I think that was a very good choice.
Yeah, now, and like they did that with like Abuela song too. Like I forget what it's called, but she's like in the subway car, and you can tell like they did all of that shit like exactly like they did it on the stage. Like they just pretty much just like flipped it into a movie. So she's like actually walking through something, but it feels exactly like it feels watching it in the stage version.
But just all that to say, as fantastical as it is, and how nothing besides 96,000 truly blew me away. I feel like, and this is going to be a tough comparison because La La Land was, I feel like, one of the more, I felt was the best musical of the last 20 years. But I think La La Land had several set pieces where I was just like, yeah. And 96,000 was the only one where I was like, okay, this is truly something. But I don't know. I didn't like Usnavi and Vanessa's story. I like Benny and Nina's story more.
I could not disagree more, bro.
I
I hate Nina. Nina fucking sucks, dude.
we'll talk about that, but I liked their story more, but that's mostly because I liked Corey Hawkins more than I did Anthony Ramos for some reason. I just like.
Oh, you are absolutely insane.
No,
I thought Anthony Ramos stole this. He was so.
I didn't say he was bad.
He was so good, man. I thought he was far and away the best thing on screen. Like far and away the best performance on the screen, male or woman. Like I thought he was amazing.
He was incredible.
His eyes were glinting. Really, and like they kept catching his eyes with these little glints in him. I thought he did a great job. He really made it from, like, oh, that's just a movie, to like, oh man, this is a lot of fun. Like he was the one that really kept drawing me back into the film. Like
everyone committed. I liked Corey Hawkins on that. I don't know why.
I like Corey Hawkins too. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not on Teja's side of like thinking he ain't got it or whatever. But Anthony Ramos,
the best for Corey Hawkins. I don't know, man. Maybe because
he's been nominated from a Tony and stuff. Like, yeah, he was. That is kind of crazy that he was literally like him and the guy stealing stuff was the only black people
the dude stealing stuff, and the spray paint dude. I guess that's the same.
The same person.
Okay, got it.
The spray paint dude, by the way, what a strange character to include. Like he's really not in the movie until 96,000, and then he goes away like for another hour and a half. Yes. Yeah. He goes away for another hour and a half,
and then he's integral into keeping him staying.
Yes, like that was a weird decision because I'm like, oh, this guy good, and I was like, oh, he's like a close part of the friend group, but like I haven't seen him in 2 hours.
They've been chasing him down like because he's stealing shit from the bodega every day. They're like, son of a bitch. You think he's kind of like an asshole, but he's like, yeah, he's part of the friend group. All that to say, the reason that I give this a B+ with Tej, I thought it was fun. I called it though Just Vibes the musical. It's just vibes. It's feel good. It is nothing happens. The biggest thing that happens besides Abuela dying, which is like kind of feels like thrown in there for emotional weight, it is that he decides not to move.
That's so important, though. That's the whole thing.
No,
my man's literally.
We knew he wasn't gonna leave, but yes, it is very important that he decided not to leave. But that is the biggest.
It's the biggest thing that happens
in the film, and it's like a non-event. Like he actually chose to not do anything. That is the biggest thing in this movie.
That Usnavi deciding to hold down the whole entire block and not giving the gentrification wasn't a big enough deal for y'all. But that shit.
Don't
matters.
include that. Don't include that.
And Abuela did not have to die. That's only included because they needed like an emotional fulcrum before you get to the last part of the movie. She literally, it's just shoved in there. That didn't make any sense to me. Like I obviously when the blackout happens. And they're doing the scene, something bad is about to happen. You can just feel it. The way that the music switches the tone, something bad is about to happen. And I thought they were about to kill off Usnavi's love interest, but they end up killing off Abuela. And I was like, oh, I guess it makes more sense to kill off the old person than his love interest. But we didn't have to actually kill off anybody. It didn't, because it would only make sense to kill off that character if their death was somehow a result of the things that are expressed in the movie, as opposed to just like being old. And so I think that's what they tried to do with Abuela's sequence. They tried to kind of give you her backstory and tie this whole thing into like the reason why this person died is partially tied to what the themes of the movie are, which is like gentrification, the death of this neighborhood. And I know they were trying to make a parallel between like what we think is the death of Washington Heights, like the neighborhood is dying, and like the matriarch, everybody's grandma is dying. But I thought it was just completely random. Maybe it feels different in the stage play, but I was just like, this character didn't have to die to also do what they want to accomplish.
She was going to trust that he just would stumble upon that lottery ticket.
No, she was going to give it to him. She didn't plan on dying.
She had that thing for like 3 days.
No, it was only like I think she died on the. I think it was only like 2 days.
On the night.
No, it wasn't the same night as 96,000, but I think it was like the next day.
It was like a couple of days tops.
Yeah, it wasn't a long time, but yeah, don't hold on to a lottery ticket on my behalf. Just give it to me when you know you got it. Mm-hmm. Let's get it popping.
I'm just gonna store this away. I just called it Just Vibes because it was a feel good movie, other than an old lady dying.
I would
And
definitely watch it again. Like it was fun. It was fun.
It was too long, man. I will say that
It was
Way
definitely too long. But
too
I
long.
think it's hard because you're making it out of a stage show, and those stage shows are long because they have an intermission. Like they're long. Like stage shows are not.
Yeah, they're
hour
like
and a half
4
like
hours.
movies.
Yeah.
But so I think I understand the difficulty of it, but at that last like 15, 20 minutes, I was like, oh, we still going? Like we could wrap this up. So it definitely feels a bit long. I wish they could have consented it down a little bit more, but I understand
20
the
minutes,
challenge.
20 minutes too long. They could have wrapped up, even though I did like their story more. They could have wrapped up Nina and Corey Hawkins. Benny, what was his name? Benny.
Yeah, Benny.
Yeah.
So why did you like the Benny and the Benny storyline better than
Please
the
explain
Ivy
yourself, because
storyline?
I hate this shit.
Well, mostly because I liked Benny. Well, here's it. I didn't like Vanessa and Usnavi's. They just didn't have. There was no chemistry. They didn't have any chemistry.
The only time that she had chemistry with another man on the screen is during the dancing scene where she was dancing with
with another dude.
dudes.
They had
And that-
zero chemistry, and
She crushed those dancing scenes, by the way.
Dude.
Shout out to her. Because I wasn't really attracted to her until the dancing scenes. I was like, oh my God, she is smoking hot. I understand Usnavi seasoned her now. I thought she
dancing
crushed that scene. That shit was amazing.
That is when I got invested in them, like for real. Because I obviously I've seen the musical. I know like what happens or whatever, but that dancing scene was when I was like, this is so fucking real and relatable. I have been this person going to the club that I don't know anybody at, and everybody at the spot knows the girl you're with, and you're just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, somebody walks up to you like, oh, you got you a good one. You like, nigga, how you know? Like,
That's the
what are you
vibes at
talking about?
salsa dancing clubs. That's the vibe. Like you share. But the problem is he never went to dance with her, and I'm sure he was going to, but then the blackout happens. But like
Yep.
he was just like fumbling the bag. All
My man
night,
was
but, like,
nervous. He had to go get some shots in him. Like,
but the argument that they
liquid
have,
courage.
the argument that they have before Abuela dies when she leaves is a nonsensical.
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't
You
make
left
any
me.
sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. This is a nonsensical argument. I'm just like, this is film drama or stage drama, but these people don't actually have an issue with each other. So then when they reconnect after Abuela dies, it means nothing to me because I'm like, these people should have never had a problem to begin with.
Right. And so it was like, that's part of there was no give and take there. And then it was very like, of course, they updated this musical for like cell phones and things that to be in this, but it was like, it was very like, hey, you could have just texted me, sort of misunderstanding, sort of that you left me, sort of like that. Didn't come on, man. Like, I know this is like I just said, Just Vibes the musical, but like that, come on, that's not heavy enough to be like, I'm not seeing you anymore. To that end, I disliked their relationship so much that I ended up liking Benny and Nina's relationship more.
Why do you hate Nina?
Nina is easily the worst character in this movie because
False.
nothing she says holds any weight or value to me. Every single problem that she has, I'm like, that's not an actual fucking problem. Okay. Like, oh my God, I'm sorry that everyone in your neighborhood believed in you your entire life. That must be so bad.
I'm not gonna lie, halfway through like her complaining and like just like, oh man, I'm a fish out of water, and like all this stuff happened at Stanford, I was like, so why'd you drop out?
Yeah. Also, it is Stanford. She didn't go to like fucking Oklahoma Baptist University or some shit. She went to Stanford.
She didn't go to Ole Miss.
There are other Hispanic people here. They have clubs. They have fraternities. Go meet them. Like, this is not some shit you drop
feel
out
like
over.
home, bro. It did not feel like home.
Then transfer to NYU.
Yeah,
And they
accused
accused her of stealing shit. That is a real problem. You got
Again,
accused of stealing your roommate's shit, and your roommate's shit is just like in her bag. Like, oh my bad. Like,
these
that's
people
horrible.
are not the police. They can't just search you. Like, this is not a fucking problem. Maybe it's different being a girl. I don't know. But me personally, we call them CLs at Baylor and not RAs, but if my CL ever pulled up and was like, "Hey, I think you stole some shit," I'd be like, "Okay, suck my dick." Like I didn't, but like, what? Even if I did, you're not gonna do anything about it. You're not a cop. You're not searching my shit. Like that's just not.
How can y'all like the Benny Nina romance when one of the events that happened in this relationship is she gets into college because she's smart and she's going places, and him realizing that she's smart and she's going places literally just breaks up with her.
I mean, I don't blame him for that. Get out of. She's going across the fucking country to Stanford. Like I'm
That's
sure.
fine.
Okay, that's fine. Break up with your girl because you don't want your girl to be here. But when she comes back to town because she failed out of school, don't try to rekindle the relationship now. You got rid of her because she was moving. And if she wasn't good enough to do long distance with, then why the fuck are you in her face again? I didn't think the relationship worked at all for me. It didn't do anything for me.
I don't have that kind of trust in anyone that I've ever dated to be like, you're going to college for 4 years, literally on the opposite end of the country. I'm sure nothing will happen. It'll be fine. FaceTime will be sufficient. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to assume you're going to go out there and do your thing.
That's his right. But now that she moves back because she literally, like, her dreams have crashed and burned, it's like, oh, cool. Now you can just date me again. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
You here, I'm here, we here. What's up?
No, I didn't like that. I did not like that.
In the Heights, baby. Hey.
But yeah, like the other thing I didn't like about them is that I just couldn't get a gauge on how old Benny is supposed to be.
Right.
That's a great fucking
that's a good
question.
point because she's supposed to be a freshman in high school, and then it's like a 35-year-old man.
Yeah, because Usnavi is like, I'm almost 30.
Usnavi's like almost 30, but then she just went to her freshman year of college. The whole age thing was weird.
Yeah, so I'm like, why are Benny and Usnavi friends?
Yes.
If he's an appropriate age to be dating this college freshman, why are Benny and Usnavi friends? If he's not, like, if he is as old as Usnavi is, why is he dating a college freshman? Like, it just didn't add up. I was like, nah.
I didn't get it. I did not understand. And it's like, I know they were trying to do the thing because the first woman that he introduces us to, Usnavi, is Nina. And so you're like, oh, okay, maybe he's into Nina, but he clearly says, like, she's like a sister to me. And I was like, oh, there's like an age difference. She just went to college. Usnavi's about to be in his 30s. They clearly are not dating. But then Vanessa is close to Usnavi's age, I guess, and Corey Hawkins is supposed to be 10 years younger than Usnavi. And like, it just doesn't make, the ages don't make sense in this.
Okay,
Yeah,
now that y'all are poking holes in this.
Why is Benny the homie if like there's such a big age gap?
Now that y'all are poking holes in this, both these relationships suck. Fuck 'em.
Neither one of them really worked for me, but I'll agree.
I just really did not like the chemistry, like the backstory of the chemistry behind Vanessa and Usnavi. Like, I know it ends up working out and it's fine, but it's just like all of a sudden, I like you again. Please don't go. All right, now we have a kid.
My thing if I like Nina more, then I might be with you. But I just hated Nina, and her just at the end being like, "Hey, Dad, my friend is an illegal immigrant, so I'm gonna go back to Stanford now. Do you still have your money?" Like, no, get the fuck out of here. I don't still have my fucking money.
Put me on blast in front of the entire block.
That's another reason I didn't like fucking what's his face, Corey Hawkins' character. He walks into a family dinner at these people's house that they have graciously invited him to, and he blows the spot up immediately.
Thank you.
What are you doing? Like, my family would not have reacted so kindly to that. Why would you do that? Like, this dude has news he's gonna share with everybody. You just walk in and interrogate this dude at his own table at his own house. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, nah. I know that my black ass would never walk into these people's home. My boss's house. Like, I'm the company. I'm the employee of my boss.
In Spanish.
And just being like, hey, let me fuck up y'all's night real quick. Like, no, I am not doing this. Nothing is this important to me.
And the food wasn't even cold yet. I will say this: all the food in this looked just.
Oh my god! That dinner made me so hungry.
Maybe just my grandma's, man. Like because I'm never cooking like that. That's just not something I'm going to be capable of doing. But my grandma could do some shit like that.
I have two unanswered questions that maybe y'all picked up, but I did not. And I was sober in this movie theater, so I don't know how I missed these two things. But I have two questions. The first question is, when he goes to the young rapping kid's dad to ask him to move to the Dominican Republic with him, the scene ends with the dad with his uncle, Usnavi's uncle, and that dude's dad asking him, "How do you pay him in cash?" And then it just kind of lingers, and I don't know what.
He's an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, he says
The kid is
pay
illegal.
him in cash. Have you ever wondered why?
Oh, I did not.
Have you ever wondered why? Is because he's an illegal immigrant.
Okay, I was wondering why that. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, the second one is there are two scenes with Nina where she's singing on the street, talking about how bad her life is and how she's let the whole hood down. And both of those scenes, she sees a little girl running through the crowd, and they keep putting the camera on the little girl to show you that Nina is seeing the little girl, but we don't know if the little girl is actually there or if she's imagining her. Who the fuck is? What is that supposed to mean?
Representation of another child that everybody has faith in, and who she was as a kid.
Yeah, I was watching that. I was like, is that supposed to be young Nina? Like, is she seeing?
I could not tell.
And
I thought it would resolve itself, and then it just like never comes up again. I was just like, is that like her childhood innocence? Is that like another little girl who's smart?
It's like a real other kid. I don't know.
At first, I thought it might have been one of the kids that were one of Usnavi's kids, but I was like, that doesn't make sense to have Nina chasing after Usnavi's kids. Like, so I just was getting confused, but I didn't understand. I'm sure it's probably more drawn out in the stage play of like, you understand what she's seeing more than the movie that just kind of happens. And then you're just supposed to like go with it. I could not figure out what was happening in those scenes.
I just took it as it was a representation of another younger child or her younger self, like in real time as somebody that everybody believes in or whatever. And it was just kind of like a representation of who she was back in the day. And everybody believes in you and lifts you up and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. How sad.
That's a lot of pressure, Dex. Dex, that's a lot of pressure.
Is it though? I mean,
I will say they were.
Is it though? Yes.
They were kind of blowing her up when they're like, oh, so you flunked out of college, stupid? Like, bitch, you haven't even been. Like,
the dad literally worked his whole life to get this kid into Stanford. Like, that's a lot of pressure.
I don't want your life.
That stuff worked. That stuff worked for me. Like, that stuff really worked for me. I didn't for 1 second question like, why does Nina feel the way that she feels? That part really worked for me.
I can kind of relate because, like, you know, I had similar expectations. Like, I was one of the first people in my family to go to college, and everybody like knew I was a smart one or whatever. But like, I just never felt like bad. Like, oh, woe is me. I guess it would have.
Well,
like,
that's because you graduated.
If I experienced more racism or whatever.
If you had, if the racism at Baylor literally caused you to like withdraw and go back home, you might have felt like Nina did.
I might have, but just watching this, I was like, you're not fucking LeBron James with magazine covers at 17 saying you're the chosen one or whatever. Like, you're literally just going to college.
He's the LeBron James of Washington Heights. Don't you understand
that? Just go to college.
And then she
Dex
lost
a regular ass person.
Dex calling Nina soft.
Soft. She not built for it. Some people built for it.
She was the LeBron James of Washington Heights, and then she went to college and she became the Greg Odom of Washington Heights. That is a lot to deal with, bro. That's a lot to deal with.
Oh man.
She got to college. She was fucking Seventh Woods.
Seventh Woods.
They realized quickly she was more of a Sebastian Telfair kind of. It didn't go that well.
Oh shit, man.
She's, she finds out her friend is an illegal immigrant. I know an illegal immigrant, so I got to go back and put on for this one kid. I couldn't put on for the whole hood, but just this one kid, I got to go back and do it.
Does it track that? How does Usnavi is this dude's cousin? Mm-hmm. This dude's, and that's his uncle. How does Usnavi not know that these people are illegal immigrants? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It may have been something that, like, the way that I just expanded this lore on my own, because yeah, you're right. It doesn't explain it at all. It's just like, hey, why do you think you? It may have been that like he was employed under his father before he died. So that was, and
I think
that feels like a family thing that the whole family would just know.
No,
like,
Usnavi probably figured, like, since him and his family came here legally, that, his dad's brother probably also came here legally or whatever. Maybe he might just like assume that. I don't know.
Also, his name being Usnavi because the first thing he saw was U.S. Navy.
That was pretty hilarious.
Come on, man.
No, that was amazing. That was
Yeah, I love that.
amazing.
So problems that people had with this film online.
Let's talk about it.
It's all but when I say this, problems meaning just Twitter has talked about it. I think it's been shared online several times. They really did white or beige wash, I guess, the Dominican Republic, and there are not a lot, and that's what it says online is people just being, lighter skinned Latinx people. And the problem that I think a lot of people had with it were Afro-Latin. There wasn't a lot of Afro-Latin representation. And of course, Lin-Manuel addressed it. He put out a statement. You can go online and find it. We don't have to read it, acknowledging that. And we were trying to, he's basically saying, we were trying to get more and more representation for Latin people in general, which they did. This movie, I mean, the only white people in this movie are the yuppie people that try to buy the apartment from.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and so
the colonizers.
Every white character has some ulterior motives, and you're like, get them off screen. We don't want them here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it was clear that was that was something I looked at, but I'm of two minds on this. I'll go from the Twitter anger perspective first. So with the Dominican specifically, there has been in the last couple of years, especially, a ton of backlash against darker skinned Dominican people, which is crazy because most of the people in the Dominican are darker skinned because it's hot as shit in the Dominican. And like, of course, people that are dark skinned, like there are a ton of dark skinned people in the Dominican. So I can understand, given that political climate of what everything that's going on in Dominican, and people are like literally running as far as they can from being considered black, or like being like, it is a very, very nasty time there for dark skinned Dominican people. So I can understand understanding that issue, being sensitive to it as it's presented on screen. However, Lin-Manuel, and I think he did a good job in a statement of saying, like, look, I have to now occupy two worlds. I have to still be proud of what I made because I'm extremely proud of what I made, as he should be, and also understand that maybe I dropped the ball here and I could have done better here. And I think it's actually easier for him to fix this before the movie came out than he made it. Like, I don't think that you have to make the leads. There what would you say, 4 leads of this movie?
Four leads.
Maybe 5 leads of this movie. 4 of those leads are light-skinned Latina people, and one of those leads is a black dude. Like, you could have just gotten rid of Corey Hawkins, who isn't great, replace him with a dark-skinned Latino dude. Boom, we win. And I think it gets, or we could have. I thought both of the young actresses did a great job, so I don't want to like take them out of the movie.
I don't think you can replace Anthony Ramos, though. That's kind of
I don't think so either. I thought he was great. I think he was the perfect guy for the role. I think he has to stay, but I think all the other major characters could have been a bit more flexible in terms of who we casted. But by the same token, if you're holding these people have to be able to dance. They have to be able to sing. This is not quite like an easy role. So you really have to find the right person. And even though the sing-songy rapping thing kind of lends itself to being on screen because you're bringing in people who are not been singing their whole lives or dancing their whole lives, I think it really helps that in this musical, like they don't have to sing at the top of their lungs. They're not belting out high notes and hitting opera notes and doing staccato and vibratos.
This isn't Phantom of the Opera.
Exactly. And it helps that it makes sense because I don't even know if these characters are really singing. I think some of them are definitely singing their own songs, but there are a couple of them I can't tell. Like, I can't tell if that's their real singing
I don't
voice.
think Jimmy Smits was singing, to be honest. Like,
But it's like, so because of the sing-songy nature of the things, it kind of works that like certain people, they're not singing their own songs. They're not doing like The Rock did in Moana. Like, they're not singing their own songs, but it still looks like it could be them because it's not like they're doing something amazing that's like, oh my God, nobody could do that. So, the people don't have to be able to sing, but they have to be able to move, dance, and be comfortable lip syncing if they're not singing. And I don't think that that's quite the easiest thing to find. So you got to cast who you cast. But, this is something that people made an issue about with the stage play. So, which has been going on for a decade now. So on one hand, I'm like, yeah, I understand you put out your statement. That's cool. But on the other hand, they've been talking about the representation in that stage play for a decade. What did you think was going to happen when you adapted it to the screen and you have the same shades of people on the screen?
You just got to make him Puerto Rican, to be honest.
You could literally just switch the country. Like, you could do
Yeah.
that.
Like, I think, hold on. I mean, he was born in New York, but I think Lin-Manuel is from Puerto Rican descent. If I'm not,
Wait, that makes it even crazier. I assumed that Lin-Manuel was Dominican because of the emphasis on Dominican Republic in the film.
no.
I would have ran far away. Once I saw the cast that I thought was perfect, I would have ran far away from the Dominican. It's it's a dirty game of colorism going on in Dominican right now, and it's very public and forward facing. I would have made some edits. Not that it's not a problem in other South American countries either. I don't want to say that, but that's a tricky.
That's a pretty touchy subject.
Lin-Manuel, according to Wikipedia, is a Puerto Rican and Mexican descent. So
that's fascinating.
I don't know why he would make the main character, which he played back in the day. I don't know why he would make him Dominican.
That's very fascinating.
When you could have just made him, because they talk about all the Latin in the scene before the blackout ends. They talk
all the
about
flags,
all the flags and everything. Just make him Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? Or you could have done that in the movie. I'm not saying, what do I know? I'm a white guy talking on a podcast, but like, just just make him Puerto Rican. It's just like, you know what I mean? So I think you could have done that, considering where Lin-Manuel, the man who created this and played the character, is of descendant. So I just think you could have done that, and it would have made more sense for the character, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Do you have anything? I know you say you don't really.
Yeah, I don't really get into this stuff too often, just because I've never really cared that much about like characters on screen looking like me. So I've never really, kind of felt that same like, oh, other people need to have like characters that look like them, because I don't like feel that need for myself or whatever. But what I will say is that my mom, she didn't watch this movie. Me and my little brother went to go see this in theaters. I dropped my little brother off back at home, and he told my mom how much he loved it, and so she watched it on HBO Max afterwards. And one thing that she told me was like, she loved like the representation in it. She wasn't thinking about the lead character. She was thinking about like the background dancers and actresses and extras and all that. And she was like, I loved, there was so many colors on the screen, and like every skin tone and like every body shape and size and all that kind of stuff.
So many different body types. In the scene where they're having the block party with all the flags, I was blown away. I was just like, every body type that you can imagine is on screen right now. And I thought that was so dope. Like, so it's clear they were thinking about representation at some levels, like
some representation.
In those, there are dark skinned people, there are light skinned people, there are big people, there are small people, there are kids. Like it just felt like there was, even in the dance sequences, which is an area where generally if you're seeing a dance sequence, they're going to try to make
all
people
skinny,
look the
like,
same because it looks more uniform. It's like, no, these people are wearing different colors, different kinds of outfits, and you see all different shapes and sizes. And so I was like, that seemed very intentional to me. Like they are trying to create some representation, but it's like at some level, you're never going to do enough for people who are really wanting to see themselves in the characters who they see on the screen the most. They're not necessarily going to care that somebody in the background might have looked like them, because the scene only lasted 2 minutes and that person was only on screen for a couple seconds. So it's like a something. It's always aspirational. You're never going to get completely where everybody wants you to go, because there's a million different cultures and experiences within the wider umbrella of Latino people. They're just, you can never hit everybody in a movie that's only 2 hours.
Such a wide spreading. It's not like white people.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, we like mayonnaise or from Kansas. Like, I like baseball. Like, it's just that it's just,
we got
so all encompassing. White culture. You can pretty much put it in a box, pretty much. But like,
we got our Matt Damon whites, we got our Steve Buscemi whites, and that's all we need.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep. Representation.
We got it. And so it's just like, but not for nothing, and this is going to sound hollow coming from me, but it is one of the most Latin. This movie is Latin as hell. It was one of the most Latin mainstream movies that I've seen in a long time.
What's the closest comp that's come out recently? Because I was struggling to come up with like this movie is very, 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 very.
What's the
Latin-like.
What's the Netflix one? That's literally based in Mexico.
Roma.
Which one?
Roma.
Oh, Roma. That's right. That's right.
But that's not.
That's a different
mainstream
movie. Yeah,
it's very different. Very different. Yeah.
And like I will say, speaking of Roma, I definitely noticed in this movie how like there's a lot of Spanish spoken with like no subtitles or anything like that. They're just like, this is what it is. Like y'all just.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There's some stuff for there like El Sueñito means little dream or whatever they like explain, but there's a lot of like just spoken Spanish and they're just like,
yeah, like you get it.
Here it is.
You'll get it. You get the context. Yeah, you'll get the context.
If you're around Spanish enough, like if the actors are good enough at portraying it, like you've literally heard, you're good. You got a brain. So yeah, that's an interesting thing that's going on throughout this movie. But on top of everything else, I will say, man, this movie's Latin as hell, man. And there's just a vibe with that and the culture surrounding it and that being its own little slice of Americana that was just so fun to witness because it becomes its own slice of America. And this is what kind of America looks like in this very not myopic, but this very microscopic place of the world. And just like I said, like a 30 block radius or whatever. I think it's a really cool thing to see and hear and feel.
And it did make living in New York and in the Heights specifically look actually kind of cool because
for a second, but like the very beginning of the movie looked like ass. The very beginning of the movie when they're all coming out of their like dungeons and layers to go to work and shit, and they're just all coming out at one time. I'm like, this looks like fucking shit. This looks like it sucks. Like I lived in New York for 4 months. For 4 months, I would never, ever, ever, ever do that again. Just because they're all just like getting out and like, oh, gotta go do it again to not make any money because it all goes to rent.
Yeah, that part of the opening song, like, it felt really real, but definitely not cool at all. But then, like, when they're doing the Carnaval de Barrio scene or whatever, like everybody just on the block, just having a good time. Like literally from all over the world, just like everybody chilling. Like that's what New Yorkers want you to think living in New York is like. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's an idyllic part of New York. What they don't show you is that because it's 110 degrees, it smells like literal garbage water outside. It smells so bad.
How does everybody in this film see sexual tension between Usnavi and Vanessa? And I didn't see it for 1 second. It's like a running joke. Everybody's like, "Come on, we all know." It's like, do you know? I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. I'm still looking.
Ask her out. One thing that was pointed out on on Lights Camera podcast that I listened to. Go listen to them. But they did a review of this movie and they pointed out something that I didn't think about. Product placement. The movie. This movie was chock.
This movie was a Coca-Cola commercial. There's like 20 Coca-Colas in this movie. I was like, please stop it.
Yeah, like it literally looked like what Coca-Cola used to do when it's just like hot outside. Here's a Coke. The Coke's all sweaty and shit. Like this looks like what they used to do. But the one they use a Tide pen twice. And they like zoom in on the Tide pen.
And it is clearly a Tide pen. Yeah, like the same color scheme is clearly a Tide pen.
And then they fucking linger on this Moet bottle like 3 different times.
He literally goes, "Oh my god, it's like sweaty and perfect on the outside." I was just like, "Come on, I'm literally in a Moet commercial right now. Come on, guys."
He fucking hangs it in the bodega for everyone to see for all time, and they just linger on the shot of this hanging Moet bottle.
I mean, Coca-Cola is interesting because it's like Coke is just universal. It's everywhere. Like it's in any country and culture. It's just everywhere. It's like McDonald's. So it's like if you see McDonald's, you're not going to be like, this is McDonald's. But it really did feel like a mid 2000s Coke commercial at times when they're like in the bodega and sweaty and shit. And you're just like, wait, I've seen this.
Coca-Cola with real sugar.
They literally have Vanessa walk in. She's hot. She's mad. She's sexy. She's sweaty. It's hot outside. Yeah. She goes right to the fridge and beautifully grabs a Coke and just starts drinking it. It was like, I've seen this in a Coca. I'm sure I've seen this in a Coca.
Swear to God, I saw this on TV.
I know
today.
that I have, and I immediately thought that. I was like, that's a Coke commercial. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. So the egregious one was the Tide pin. I was just like, all right, man. Nobody uses a Tide pin out, and he's just like, got it. I kept it in my pocket. It's like, no, you didn't. Come on, man. You use it. You know how people use a Tide pin? This is how people use a Tide pin. Hey, does anybody by chance happen to have a Tide pin? I swear to God. Is anybody's mom here? You don't just have a Tide pin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Moms
always
have
have
them
one
in
at
their
my
purse.
desk at work. I always have them at my desk at work, but I don't ever carry it around with me.
Yeah, because we just have pockets. Like if you have a purse, you just like toss one in there and it
Yeah.
just sits there.
You never got to think about it again until you need it.
Yeah.
Imagine if a Tide pin busts in your pocket like a pin bust or something in your pocket. Like, God damn it, bleach in my pocket now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've all said 96,000. Obviously, that's a huge set piece. It's a song that I'll definitely listen to again. But is there any other songs or set pieces that you really thought stood out? Like, if you had to pick one more besides 96,000, do you have one that you're really encapsulated by?
I've
There
always
were a lot
loved
of
the
s-
intro song. So like
I like the intro song too. There were a lot of set pieces that I liked, but not really like for me being a musical person. I know that a musical is good when I want to listen to the soundtrack when I've left the theater, right? This is not, I'm not going to put on the In the Heights soundtrack like around the house when I'm cleaning up. That's not going to happen. It's not that kind of, it's not that, it makes sense in context, but it won't make sense out of context. Whereas like Wicked, for example, I love Wicked. I'll put on the Wicked soundtrack and be like in my room, like in here reading, or I love it. I just love the songs. They just make sense to me. I don't think there's any, other than 96,000, which is pretty good. I don't think there's any songs that I'm going to be like, I want to listen to this while I'm driving my car around LA.
All
it's not like
musicals kind of do this, where it's like you have to tell a story, you have to advance the plot within the confines of the music. But it's not like A Star Is Born, where it's like these are actual just songs.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
But what this does, kind of to the detriment of the soundtrack to me, like Hamilton, it's like we're basically just telling you like lines within a beat. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just I'm going to the store and I'm gonna get a lottery ticket. That's how like this goes down basically throughout my rapping skills throughout the confines of the movie. That's how that does. Whereas like La La Land or anything like with the opening song of La La Land, I listened to that like 4 times after I left the theater.
yeah, but that one is like
Another Day of Sun, rather, is the name of the song.
literally just like a standalone song. Like it's like the characters aren't even in that one.
No, yeah.
Or
like-
but yeah, I listen to that one a lot too.
City of Stars, like, you know.
See that one, I don't listen to it that often. Like if I put on Another Day of Sun and then like whatever the next one is where Emma Stone and the girls are going out, like that comes on and then City of Stars will come on. But like the slow songs from movie musicals, I almost never listen to. Like like the one that got Oscar nominated from The Greatest Showman or whatever. Like
No,
This Is
that's not
Me
what
or
you're
whatever
going
it's
for.
called. I'm not listening to that shit. I'm listening to This Is the Greatest Show and Come Alive. Like I like the fast pace, like, you know, just jams, you know. So
I will
the
say
jo-
I like the Greatest Showman soundtrack better than I like this soundtrack.
Did
well,
y'all pick
yeah.
up on the song cue when Nina's dad called Stanford and there's like the waiting music and the song
Yes.
cue was a song from another musical? I forgot
it's
what it
from
was. now.
Hamilton.
It's from
It's,
okay, that's what I thought.
It's the King song. I forget which one it is. What's it called? A Message from
That
the
was probably
King.
that was probably the biggest reaction from the crowd. But I had a very quiet theater. That they were not laughing that much. They were, but that little part really drew a reaction out of the crowd, and I reacted
Yeah.
too because I knew I was like, "Oh, that's from Hamilton." I forgot what song it was, but I know that's from Hamilton.
Leo
Yeah.
pointing meme. I like the song right before the blackout where they're talking about all of their countries and everything else. Like I really enjoyed that one. So
yeah, same.
thought that was really good.
I also like the club one, like right before the blackout happens.
I'm not
I
gonna
just
lie.
like that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not gonna lie. The blackout I felt like was compelling. Like when they were directing all the taxi cabs and stuff like that, and the fireworks and shit were going off. I thought that was actually really compelling stuff.
There's some pretty good.
And
set
then
pieces.
they just kill an old woman.
There's some pretty good. I really like the way that starting at the club scene, going through the blackout. I really love pretty much everything they did there. I don't love the songs there, but I really love the way that those scenes are blocked. Those scenes kind of the way you kind of flow through them. I really like the block party, the Carnival in the Barrio. Obviously, the pool sequence is just amazing. There's some good movie tricks here. I thought the director did a great job. And Crazy Rich Asians is just a complete banger. So like I expected that, and so I'm really interested to watch more from the director because I had no expectations for Crazy Rich Asians. I was kind of blown away by some of the stuff that they did in that film. So I'm excited to watch more from him.
I was like, how is he gonna be like not have directed a musical?
Cultural,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But like, because directing a musical, it comes with all its own thing. It's like basically directing like a long music video. But then again, he directed Justin Bieber "Never Say Never."
That song stinks, but obviously he's been on the music set.
I
before.
will never say never.
He also directed Step Up 2, The Streets.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yo, that one I didn't know. I knew the Justin Bieber one. I didn't know he directed Step Up.
The
to
title
Streets.
of Step Up 2 is called Step Up to the
2.
Streets.
Yeah.
No, wait, you didn't know that?
Yes.
No,
It's Step
I
Up
don't-
2, the
The
Streets.
Streets.
I don't think that I knew that they made a Step Up 2. Who
They
was
made a
asking for
Step
that?
Up
They made like
5.
They made like 8 Step Ups, dude.
Jesus Christ.
But Step Up 2 might actually be the best one though.
Step Up 2, The
Wait,
Streets.
really? It's good?
The dancing is good at least. The movie is who cares?
That's fair.
So yeah, this guy has definitely gotten better as time has gone on. Especially, a back-to-back of Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights is awesome.
That's
So
a flex. We got to be watching out for him because
he's
that's a
also
flex.
he's directing Wicked.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I'm not.
I'm so fucking.
Wait, are they making
I
a
am
Wicked
the-
movie?
I
missed
am
this.
there. I am there. They fucking. I've seen Wicked on the stage like 10 times.
It's in
I love
pre-production.
Wicked. I am there day fucking one.
I've
Take my
also
money.
actually
Put
seen
Florence-
Wicked in person. That
Put
shit.
Florence Pugh in Wicked and let's go.
Yeah, it's they're doing Wicked.
Bro, if I
wonder-
found out Florence Pugh can sing, then this podcast is going to another fucking level of stand up.
I would have been actually good. The thing that I'm glad that they did, and we'll kind of start to wrap this up with this movie, and maybe they'll not do it with Wicked, where it's just like just cast Kristen Chenoweth like as like a 50-year-old or what's her name that played the original Wicked Witch.
Oh God, I don't remember.
No, it
that
was
would be cool.
No, it was who was Frozen? Who was that? It was
Adele Dazeem.
Yeah,
Adina Menzel.
Adina Menzel was the original Wicked Witch, and I think it was Christian Chenoweth. So
Uh,
maybe they'll do that. I don't know. But what I'm glad they didn't
Kristen
do-
Chenoweth still looks like 7 years old, so she'll definitely do it.
what I'm glad they didn't do with this musical is Lin-Manuel Miranda made this. He had every right to try and be like a 40-year-old Usnavi in this.
I'm so glad that he did.
they did not do that. And maybe that was a lot of self-awareness on his part.
He was selling his little ice cones, and I was fine. Like stay in that role. The Usnavi was casted perfectly. That I'm glad that he didn't for once try to, because him and Vanessa, that doesn't even make sense now that the age difference is pretty apparent. No, let's not do that.
Yeah, he has a bad habit of kind of really inserting himself in a lot of stuff. So
And
I'm
yeah, he
glad-
played this character for years, so he can.
yeah,
be
I'm
done.
glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't. Do
I'm
that.
so glad that he didn't. I
But
appreciate
also
seeing
him having Chris Jackson in the movie. I just love that. That just warmed my little Hamilton heart.
All right. So anything else?
If it's draft time, we got to drop some ads in there.
It is draft time, so we will be right back after this ad break from Apollo Houston. All right. We're drafting films about places or film. I'll even amend it to say films with places in the title.
Okay, we better be specific because I was going to get very abstract. Okay,
You're
Films
fine.
where the setting is a character.
every film is about a place if you really think about it. But
Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go Tej, since you brought this first. Let's go Tej, Dex, and I'll round it out.
I usually love being the number one pick, but I hate it right now because I have two movies that I love equally that are about places that have cities or places in the name. Fuck me. All right. Number one pick. I'm going City of God.
Okay.
I love City of God. One of my favorite movies ever. It's self-explanatory. If you've never seen City of God, after you finish this podcast, go watch it. It's not a warm fuzzy like In the Heights.
No.
It's quite the opposite, but it is traumatizing, but in the best way possible. City of God's amazing, so I'm going City of God.
Is it all in Portuguese?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, it's subtitled.
Yeah, it's based in
I
Brazil.
had to remember
right?
the language they speak in Brazil, but yes, Portuguese.
Yeah. Well, easy number one pick. We just did this Fargo. Or no, wait, it's Dex. Shit.
Yeah, you can still have Fargo. I'm
Okay.
just gonna take
Fargo
La La
was going
Land.
to be my other choice, so I knew it was going to be gone.
Okay, so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just taking La La Land. My favorite musical of the last 20 years, like Royden. Yeah, that movie just is so dope to me. I watch it all the time consistently. So
Okay, so my number, we did do a La La Land episode, like our third episode ever. So go listen to that. My number one pick is Fargo. My number two pick is No Country for Old Men.
Oh man, that is solid.
Talking about abstract, where is this film based? No Country.
I was just gonna say, where is that film take place? Because it didn't immediately come to mind.
No kids. It's based in No Country.
okay, we'll allow it.
I wanted to see if y'all would allow it, so I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, fuck it, whatever. I'm gonna take a movie that it's not as great as people said it was when it came out, but I still like it. I'm gonna go with The Town. I just watched it again a few months ago.
What? Where is
And
it? The Town. It's just The Town.
It's The Town. It's Boston, The Town. Do people say that? I have no idea, but that movie. I don't know. I enjoy it. It's not like people thought it was incredible. They were like, "Oh my god, Ben Affleck, he's a great director." And
It
he's
is
not.
good.
But it's cool. It's fun.
Okay,
What are we talking about?
The Town is amazing. Okay, I'm not gonna say amazing. The Town is great. I'm not hating on The Town, but The Town is literally a shot-for-shot remake of Set It Off. Literally, beat for beat, it's the same film. And every time I watch The Town, I can't do it. I've seen Set It Off probably 50 times, so I know that film beat for beat. And literally, the first time I saw The Town in theaters, I was like, "This movie's awesome." And also, I've seen this movie. It's called Set It Off, except for it was with black women. Now it's got some white dudes in it. It's gonna make $1 billion. So I have a weird relationship with The Town, but it's a great movie.
Jeremy Renner's great.
Yeah. So, yeah,
All right,
let's
it's my
make
next
The Town.
pick.
You got two.
God, I got two. All right, my first pick's gonna be Chinatown, which is every film nerd's favorite movie. So I won't go into talking about it because it sounds pretentious when you talk about it, but it really is great.
Never finished Chinatown, by the way.
You gotta finish it.
The ending is like the whole thing. that's what you're here for.
I know.
And I'm gonna go. I guess I'm going film nerdy twice. This one doesn't have a city in the title, but I'm going Taxi Driver. It's a very when I think of New York movies, I always think of Taxi Driver first. It's just horrifying and scary in a way that New York can be horrifying and scary. I just love it. It's amazing. So I'm gonna go Taxi Driver.
I'm gonna go with Do the Right Thing, being about New York. I saw that movie for the first time like way later in life than I probably should have. I saw it in like 2015 or something like that for the first time, but it's one of those movies that like could it come out today? Absolutely not. Would I like it if it came out right now? Probably not. But for the time and what Spike Lee did way back then, it's groundbreaking. It's a classic. It's revolutionary, all that good stuff. And, it gives a different look at life in New York City than In the Heights does. So I got Do the Right Thing.
Very different.
I'm gonna go with Madagascar 2. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna go with Sleepless in Seattle.
Great movie. That was my
Honest.
next choice.
Yeah, Sleepless in Seattle.
Great movie.
And then,
You don't get to. Oh, yes, you do.
yeah, sidebar. Remember that time that we're like, what movies are overrated? And the person that listed it was like, Out of Africa. We're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay, nobody was gonna take that, but fine. Let's see, and then I'm gonna go with another. Do I want to do that? I'm gonna go with another Tom
Rom-com?
Hanks movie and do Philadelphia.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people haven't seen Philadelphia. Go watch Philadelphia. It's great. It's great Denzel. Great.
Tough
Great Tom
watch.
Hanks. It's not an easy thing to watch.
No.
But
I
it
like
is
it.
worth it. It's very good.
I'm gonna go with a movie that's been drafted in like 17 different drafts on this podcast. Straight Outta Compton.
It's all by me, but yeah.
That's all by me.
Shout out to Corey Hawkins for also being in the Heights somehow.
I
It
thought he
came full
played
circle.
I thought he played a good Dr. Dre.
I think that's the only role that I thought he did a good job at. Everything else I've seen him in, I'm just like, I don't know. But he's fine in the movie. I'm ending this with In Bruges. Completely
Bruges?
hilarious film. In Bruges. I always say that movie's title wrong. It's amazing. Yeah. And long live Colin Farrell. I love Colin Farrell.
He's great. We need him in more things.
We don't give Colin Farrell enough love and respect. I love Colin Farrell.
That is untrue because he keeps getting roles when he put out some fucking stinkers throughout the mid 2000s.
Everybody put out some stinkers, and after he gave us The Lobster, and what is that? The Sacred Deer movie? I forgot what it's
Killing
called.
of the Sacred Deer.
But and also Phone Book, which is a movie that should not work on any level. It's just great because Colin Farrell's in it. It only works because Colin Farrell's in it. Colin Farrell's great. We should give him more respect. Hashtag support Colin Farrell.
I don't know
great
why.
in The Gentleman. I just like Colin Farrell.
I don't know why I sat down and watched The Phone Book the other day. It was like on FX, which it's always on FX. But
That film is good, and it should.
it was
be.
actually
It has no reason.
it was
It has no
really
reason to be good.
it's captivating.
It just works. It's the dumbest movie, but it just works. It absolutely works.
Colin Farrell Appreciation Pod. Shout out to him for turning into Johnny Depp in that Harry Potter spinoff movie. Which
Oh,
was
yeah.
Oh yeah, he did do that.
weird.
they're like all of a sudden at the end of that movie, they're like, nope, Johnny Depp. And you're like, what? You didn't think this was weird enough. Oh man. Some other ones, Chicago, Gangs of New York.
I've never seen the musical Chicago, but I've heard that
It's great.
People that like the musical did not like the film, but they like the jail. Everybody's seen the jail sequence where they're doing the little jailhouse tango. I think it's called. Everybody loves that sequence, but apparently people had an issue with the.
He had
film
it
adaptation.
coming.
Yeah, that
He
one.
had it coming.
That's the only thing I've seen of this.
I will
musical,
say
of that film.
Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones were putting up 30 and 10 in that scene.
Some other musicals that kind of count: Moulin Rouge and
Yeah.
Mamma Mia.
Yeah. Sweet Home Alabama with our queen, Reese Witherspoon.
Shout
Reese
out.
Witherspoon is our queen. Love her.
Basically,
That's-
every movie that's ever happened in Los Angeles is about Los Angeles. So.
Yeah.
True.
Pirates of the Caribbean, The Italian Job. I joked about Madagascar, but actually, yeah. Anyway, anything else? Any thing we've watched recently that we're dying to tell people about?
I have finally watched Den of Thieves because everybody who loves heist movies have told me how good it is. So I just watched it recently.
It's
and
bad, but it's fun.
It's not good, but this leads me to my next bad take. I'm not seeing it for O'Shea Jackson. I just don't see it for the guy.
What?
He stinks in Den of Thieves. He is so
Yeah, he's not
bad.
good. He's not good.
And I'm just like, how is he doing such a bad job? I don't.
No one is good in Den of Thieves.
I mean, Gerard Butler is never really good at anything. He's just
Gerard Butler's just like fat and drunk and like.
I mean, 50
one
Cent plays a
era
good
when they
50
really
Cent.
tried to make Gerard Butler happen. They were like, Gerard Butler's it, chief. Like we were putting him everywhere.
Well, he got really hot for that one role, and then they were just like, "Yeah, we're gonna." Everybody wants to be 300.
He didn't say hot.
Nope. I will say though, I watched Greenland with him recently, which I think is on Apple TV if you want to watch it. But surprisingly very compelling, like very good. Like you think of like a disaster movie, like, oh, we've seen it all before. I thought it was actually really, really good for what it was. It was a solid B movie, and he was actually decent in it. So shout out.
I will continue to tell anyone who will listen that you should watch The Mayor of Easttown. That shit is incredible.
Ending stunk, dude.
I only watched
What?
the first episode. So
Ending
don't say too much.
was trash.
Don't
Get
say
outta
too much.
here.
I'm on the first episode. Don't say too much.
The lead up it's fine. I'll say that the ending is fine for what it is, but the lead up way overhypes the ending, and it just did not stick it like I was hoping it would. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Take that for what you will.
I'm looking for. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna try to dig in this week and finish it.
We might have to do a Mayor of Easttown episode whenever Teach finishes.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a good mini series, and they all
Better or worse ending than The Undoing and The Flight Attendant.
I haven't seen either one of those.
Haven't seen. Wait, which one's The Undoing? Is that the what?
Nicole Kidman.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember.
If you remember the ending of,
I hated the ending of The Undoing.
Did you ever see the first season of True Detective?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first season of True Detective, like you're kind of like leading up to this. It's gonna be like this super psychopathic sort of
The
thing,
Yellow King.
and it's just like this inbred dude at the end. You know, that's
I want to go back and rewatch that season.
I did. It's really good still, but the ending is still like
Yellow King
okay.
turned out to be an inbred hick. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
not that
and, like,
scared of this guy.
exactly. So I mean, he's still a mass murderer, but you're also just like, am I okay? You know,
Yeah, The Flight Attendant, which is also on HBO Max. It's another one of the HBO Max miniseries. Kaylee Cuoco's in it, however you say her name. But yeah, you get to the end of that one and you're like, what did we do all of that for?
Why? Why did we go on this journey?
Yeah, we did a whole lot and it didn't mean anything at all. Why?
I will say I just watched last night. After all of this, I watched the last Harry Potter movie because it's the best Harry Potter movie, and
It's not the best Harry Potter movie.
it is the best Harry Potter movie. But
Oh,
Y'all gonna make me rewatch these fucking movies.
they were
You
really.
should.
It was
Those
really
films
good.
are
man.
amazing.
20 hours of film that I have
Yeah.
to watch.
Yep,
The best
Um,
film and the best book is the fourth one.
I love the fourth
Goblet
one.
of- The Goblet of Fire.
Best
Wait,
book is the fourth one, but we're not going to have this conversation. But I watched that last night. But I will say what I did get into recently, got into because I watched it years ago when everybody was like, "Oh my God, you got to watch Friday Night Lights." I got back into Friday Night Lights. It was well worth it. It's so
that
worth
shit
it.
fucking
Oh,
bangs.
it's so good.
That
It's-
shit bangs.
It's so melodramatic and over the top, but it's also like so Texas. It hurts.
Texas forever. That
Where-
shit bangs.
Where it's like half of it, it's so over the top, but a lot of it where from kind of like where I grew up in East Texas and just like small town vibes where I was just sitting there going like, I know these people. I've met all of these people. But
I feel
problem-
like there's a well of content we can do around Friday Night Lights for Apollo Media. Like
Oh,
we're
Mike-
gonna have to.
Michael B. Jordan just walks into the show in like season 3, and it's like, oh, Michael B. Jordan's in this show. That
Best
show
quarterback.
was fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
best quarterback on the show. But yeah, I got back into it. But the problem is that if you don't have Peacock, which I'm not going to pay, I'm not going to pay for Peacock. If you have anybody has a login, they want to drop me. That'd
We
be
need
great.
the Peacock plug. Where
Yeah. But if you don't have Peacock, it's on Hulu under NBC. But fuck, man, there's so many ads in like a 30-minute show.
Oh.
Ah. And plus, you mentioned it today, Tej. I don't think it has the worst platform, but Hulu's platform sucks.
It's awful. It's objectively awful.
HBO Max is the worst. HBO
Really?
Max is almost unusable. Like,
Nah, I gotta say Amazon, man. Amazon's like
oh, see, I don't even try
Scrolling.
to use Amazon.
Amazon's
I hate
scrolling
the Amazon
platform
interface.
is awful, man. I think the X-ray feature on Amazon that like shows you all the IMDb shit is really cool, but the interface
That is really cool. But the
garbage.
interface is, but before you get to the movie, the interface stinks. And then once you get in there, you're like, oh my God, they're going to show me all these cool facts and shit. That's pretty cool. But before you get to there, it's
even
awful.
Even scrolling and fast forwarding and stuff is the worst out of all of them. Netflix has it down. I will say that they don't have the best content anymore, but they have got the flow of everything to a science.
Yeah.
When's the last time y'all have both logged into Netflix?
Ooh, I think
When I watched
Caitlin-
Bridgerton a few months ago, that was it.
Caitlin and I tried to watch The Circle together, although she binged through it all in like a day, so she left me behind.
That's
a
the only thing
lie.
I've watched on Netflix in the last like 5 months is The Circle.
I went back and tried to watch all the all the Oscar nominees like that were on Netflix. So I had to watch Mank, which stinks, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and all that right before the Oscars happened. But I haven't watched anything like just because I really wanted to watch it since Bridgerton. So
I'm
it's
on the
been a
fence
minute.
about canceling Netflix, but then we'll talk about that on the next podcast.
You won't.
I just feel like HBO Max it's just taken over. I just love everything about
HBO
it.
Max is the
They had the
content
best-
god. Like,
They
Just love
do
everything
have the
about
best. They do have the best content, and Disney isn't even putting out that much content. But they got me by the balls with Loki. Did y'all watch the first episode?
yep.
Yes, sir. It was
And I'm here
fire.
every single fucking
Coming
week.
out of we only got 2 hours till Loki, guys. So if y'all can
That-
stay up,
That first episode. No, well, I guess we do. We only have 2
it's only
hours.
2 hours till Loki, guys. And I got some energy, so I think I'm gonna go take my dog for a
That-
walk and then get comfortable and relax for Loki.
That first episode was just so well done. If you haven't watched it, we're gonna do a Loki episode like we've done with all of these series for sure. But like it was so just well done and well written and like expanded lore that I didn't know that I needed, and the set pieces and everything. It felt like a 1960s Disney ride. I was just like on board. I don't know how else to
I
describe
can't
it.
fucking wait for this next episode. They got I when they first announced these shows, I was like, I'm not watching these shows. I don't care about those characters.
And then
I could not have
WandaVision
been more
fucking
wrong.
banged. And we were all
Dude,
like, we're in.
you got put in the walls of Jericho immediately, and people were just like, "You fucking what?" You're like, "You're
It
not."
took me weeks to watch WandaVision. For 2 weeks, y'all were just having a great time. And I wasn't watching WandaVision. And then once I watched the first episode of WandaVision, I was like, oh, I'm in on these shows. I understand now. I'm in. I can't believe I doubted the Mouse Overlords.
Yeah, at first I was like, I'm just gonna watch it because it's the MCU and like it's gonna be tied to the movies, and I just want to be like prepared or whatever. But then I actually started watching WandaVision. I was like, oh, I am fucking in. I need this.
Give me the content. Give me the content. Yeah, but they don't even put out that much content. But the ones that they do, I just have to be like, give
We
it
are
to me.
blessed. We are blessed by the Mouse Overlords. Thank you, Mouse Overlords.
And then every now and then they'll drop you a gem like they'll give you Soul. Up next they got fucking Luca coming out. Like they'll just give you just a little taste, just to keep you going, just so you can't cancel.
I'm about to watch Raya. Actually, I think I'm about to.
And you can log on there and watch That's So Raven when you get high, which is perfect. That's how I spend my evenings.
Oh man. Okay, so
What a great show.
You can find us at the One Take Podcast. That is One Take Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us at onetakepodcastshow@gmail.com. Go rate and leave us a review, please, on Spotify. Well, you can't really leave us a review, but go follow us on Spotify. Leave us a review on Apple if you
Podcast,
could.
yeah.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts if you could. And you can find us on every other streaming platform now that we're a part of Apollo HOU.
We global.
We out here. We are the best music. Anyway, you can find us on all of that as well. You can find us on Google. You can find us on Podcastify or whatever. You can find us all over the place. But yeah, go follow us on Twitter and stuff. We'd really appreciate it. Dex, what are we doing with like shirts and merch and stuff? Is there like a potential for like One Take Podcast merchandise?
Well, if you've ever listened to this podcast and you were like, I would wear that on a shirt. Boy, have I got news for you. Because we now sell One Take Podcast shirts on the
Merch
Apollo
gang.
HOU website. So go to apollohou.com, click on the merch button, click on the podcast collection, and we in there. We got all kinds of color options and shit. You can just have a shirt with our logo on it. Isn't that fucking cool? Me and Royden were just two random ass dudes talking about movies on fucking Zoom calls, and now here we are selling t-shirts with
Yep.
Teach. Like
Swag.
we came up.
But you may be thinking, hey, oh, this is a little expensive. I don't know if I want to pay that much money for it. Is there a promo code that they can use?
By golly, there is. If you use promo code ONETAKEPOD, you'll get 10% off your One Take Podcast shirt
Let's
or any
go.
other Apollo HOU shirt that you want to buy. Promo code One Take Pod, get 10% off. Support the show. Support Apollo Media. Like, just do it. We out here. We can't be stopped.
Yeah, we really would appreciate it if we know we have some dedicated followers that have been following us for a while and some new people that we really appreciate it. If y'all buy this, man, you were one step closer to getting that support Florence Pugh t-shirt that I swear to God we are gonna make. I'm not kidding.
coming.
I use that as like a little tease, but I swear to God, if they ever let us make a shirt, that's the first one we got to make. So Dex, on top of that, what are we doing?
Hashtag support Florence Pugh. You already know. Go buy your tickets for Black Widow right the fuck now. We're going to the
Mine
fucking
have already
theater.
been copped. I'll be there July 9th. Holla at your boy.
Holla at your boys.
Incredible. All right. So on top of all that, we're out.
I hate that. Why do they do that?